What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with a tri-sport edition of NBA and NFL and MLB Lindy's. I'm back. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. It goes a long way for me on this video. I should remember how to say this. It goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content's going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. I missed you. Did you miss me? Well, we don't have a lot of time for dilly-dallying here and screwing around or niceties or anything of that nature, although I was doing so in the premium Discord. I just appreciate everybody there so much. Obviously, was back home for the weekend, had some cool stuff going on there, got to see some family that I hadn't seen in a while, plus realized I hadn't been back to the home base in over 2 years, which is kind of wild there. They've come out to me and seen me, but hadn't gone out to see my entire family, older brother, their kids, younger brother, their kids. So wife and I had a great time. Thank you so much to everybody. Didn't have a week 8 NFL Lindy's, but had some bets and got absolutely shafted on a couple of them. J.K. Dobbins, I just needed a touchdown there. Got the Jahan Dotson touchdown, but played it with a boost that was thrown out there that everybody in the entire world got over on DK. So, it's one of those things where sometimes, and then Keon Ellis tonight, man, 6.5 points. He had 5 points in like the first 5 minutes of that game. He ends up being a surprise starter there. I just don't agree with that line. And he gets in unbelievable foul trouble and then fouls out at the end of that game after he checked back in, even though Russell Westbrook was just knocking down threes. It was really, really weird. But NBA is back in our life. That's going to be what we spend the most time on here today. But of course, NFL game with the Kansas City Chiefs involved. Taylor Swift. Anyway, we've also got MLB World Series goodness. So lots coming your way. But right now, still running this here for a little while. Promo code Lindy NBA. That gets you the entire month for $20. $19.95 to be exact, 5 cents less than that. But normally it's $50. And well, I want everybody to be able to come in and try it out and be able to see how great of a community it is, be able to see all of the breakdowns in multiple sports. I am always on my phone. Even this weekend when I was hopping around here and there, didn't have time to be able to do a video for the people, but you best believe that I was sitting there on the couch, putting in that work, Devin. Don't give up. Another one. Ended up being a pretty light weekend overall there, but Sunday could have had a massive day if J.K. Dobbins just scores there. Tailed my buddy Ben Raza here over at Odd Chopper as well on his touchdown parlay that came one away. Oh, it was still painful. But overall, it's been an awesome MLB season. We're rounding that one out, and NBA is just getting going. Had a decent start to the week. We had NBA Lindy's Live, which, by the way, did anybody enjoy NBA Lindy's Live? Because I think I'm going to bring it back on Wednesday. Was thinking about yesterday, but kind of forgot that the NFL is going on, so nobody's probably going to tune in on a Monday, although I'm going to be betting and talking it. So let me know what you guys think. Wednesday, NBA Lindy's Live, we could run it back here. Ended up being really nice and profitable, 3-1 there. The first go around there was last Wednesday. Those were good times. But let's get to it, shall we? NBA fight. Yeah, I should turn it like this. Anyway, we got Lindy's Leans. That's going to be where we talk through it. And as I said, I have one NBA game purely because books did not drop props at all here going into Monday. Now, is everybody hanging out with their family over at DraftKings and FanDuel and Bet365 damn good fine? Like, what are they doing right now that they don't have props out for anything yet? In fact, the only place that does have props out, Pick'em. Prize Picks Underdog dropped Cleveland and Detroit. And so I ran some of the numbers from that when I simulated out my games and then threw them in. Let me tell you, they are a little bit more aggressive than what I was hoping for right from the jump. We have DeAndre Hunter questionable here, injury maintenance, a lot of the injury stuff that he's had going on in his lives. And then Cleveland on a back-to-back. There are so many back-to-backs. Oh, yeah, Detroit on a back-to-back after beating Boston. And Boston 0-3. We'll talk about them in 2 games. But some of the pace metrics here, it's kind of really what I'm paying attention to the most. Trying to gauge how many possessions some of these teams are going to play. And last year, Atlanta was fast, obviously, but you had Cleveland that kind of joined the offensive party. We know how good their interior defense is with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And early in the season, as guys get going, we'll see some random rests here and there. Nothing like what we'll see at the end of the season when teams are trying to quite literally not care about winning. In fact, the opposite, actively trying to lose. I guess that's the same thing. It's like somebody who says, oh, I made a 360-degree turn. Did you, though? Oh, so you went back to the beginning. It's a very good place to start. I learned that from The Sound of Music. But Cleveland, That's simply going to be my lean here for now, purely because Detroit, as much as I like them, as much as they are the darlings from last year, I don't agree that they shouldn't be like wider favorites than this at the moment. In my last number, 2.5, I thought maybe 3.5 was more appropriate here based on last year. But remember, no, send it in Jerome, Ty Jerome. Now he's just waiting for like 20 more games to play for Memphis, something like that. Anyway, this game, I really could not believe how efficient some of those opening numbers were at the pick'em. And I still have DeAndre Hunter on the shelf here at the moment. And yeah, Lonzo Ball doubtful for this one, injury maintenance on the back-to-back. Marcus Sasser, Karis LeVert, pay attention to their statuses as well. So lots of things can fluctuate there, but considering I kind of just think DeAndre Hunter sits, it is what it is. We got ourselves next up on our boarding walk, Orlando and the 76ers. VJ Edgecombe. This guy is quite good at basketball, wouldn't you say? I've enjoyed watching some of the rookie class so far. I mean, him and Cooper Flagg have been 1-2 by a landslide, but I think the one interesting note on the Philadelphia side is what's happening with the minutes here with Joel Embiid. Just randomly thrown out on a minutes limit where, like, he's not going to close games, and then it's 20 minutes, and then it's yada, yada, yada. He's not playing in this one, so it just becomes like a very difficult assessment when where they're going to open this. My guess is that this number ends up being like 32.5, 33.5. Simply a lean because I give respect to Orlando defensively for what they're capable of doing, but now they're starting to play up in pace. It looks like that was going to be a thing. By the way, did you see how much closing line value we got on Orlando and Atlanta? 228.5, close to 236.5 on Friday. And you know what happens? It goes way under because of course it does. You are going to run into some of that volatile stuff. And again, it just became kind of like the market going absolutely nuts with the same thing that I saw where, hey, we want to be early to the party in the event that Orlando with Desmond Bain, Gotham's Reckoning, are just going to figure things out and just play it up. Breakneck speed, ludicrous speed, if you will. But Jalen Suggs off the injury report, we're going to see those minutes start to creep back up. Jalen Suggs is a good defender. Jalen Suggs got paid, by the way, Minnesota's finest and Gonzaga's finest as well. But overall, friends, Maxey, Edgecombe, those are the guys that everybody's paying attention to. Are there going to be any other ancillary pieces that we can find some value with? Because Adam Bona is going to be playing center against Wendell Carter Jr. Bona's had moments in Summer League at the tail end of last year when they just didn't care about winning basketball games. And I'd say that worked out considering their roster construction. Just a bummer that Embiid's still dinged up and that McCain is out for the year. Boston 0-3 for the first time since like the Civil War. Even though they didn't have basketball during the Civil War, I still believe that that is the case. Just absurd to see. And part of it is that Jaylen Brown is having to carry a basketball team. I think we're starting to get a glimpse into what Brandon Ingram Jr. or Senior, they're kind of the same. Well, Ingram's a little older. But Jaylen Brown, I don't love the look of his Celtics team, the way that they're playing, but can you really be that surprised? Kristaps Porzingis is another huge omission. If you go 2 years back to that title-winning team, it was super important to have his floor spacing at the 5, to have some kind of competent defending, some kind of rim protection at the 5, even though that's not like his calling card, but it's just such an improvement over anything you're getting from like these true 5s, these Nias, Kedas, the Xavier Tillman, who does go out and shoot threes from time to time. It's really weird to me. Baylor Shireman maybe should see some minutes at some point in time. But considering Jason Tatum with this Achilles is just like, I mean, if you're going to keep losing games, Boston, you're probably going to see yourself on the outside looking in. But this is a 2.5-point spread on the New Orleans side. That should tell you all you need to know. This is just a new-look Celtics team, and we have to start changing the barometer for what they could be going forward because it's not very good at the moment. Really, really bad at the moment. Oh, Gabe Vincent just walking out with a walking boot out of Sacramento. That's not a great sign for him. Anyway, I don't really have a lot to add on the New Orleans side. This is still a team with Yves Missy. If he ends up being out, you're going to see some really strange type rotations because they don't really have like, I mean, Hunter Dickinson is there. He might have to play some minutes. Kansas's finest, in fact. Carlo Matkovich, who, played 3 at times last year, which is just insane because he's very tall. Anyway, there's a lot going on the New Orleans side, specifically with Missy. And then Jaylen Brown with the hamstring. Does he even play in this game? Give me props. Props are going to be a way to play this. So Boston money line, it's a lean purely because you're getting the plus money side of it at the moment. Toronto, San Antonio, under 232.5. I cannot tell you how fun Victor Wembanyama is. To have him at 21 and Cooper Flag at 18, we're in a really, really good place with youth, and we're seeing the best era of basketball that we've ever seen. Last week's opening week, I was watching a lot of games with my dad over the weekend because that's like our favorite thing to do is just sit around and watch NBA. In fact, you're going to be at the lake that we're going to talk through at the Timberwolves game. I don't think he's going to tail me on that one. We'll throw it that way. But 232.5. Wemby coming off the blood clot. I know the summer was fine for him. Coming into this, there's just a part of me that feels like on the back-to-back to San Antonio played today, Sunday, as did Toronto, and we could see some weird, wonky shit in this one. You want to know why props aren't out? Because there are so many back-to-backs, and we have so many Q tags, like, I don't know, Atlanta, Chicago we'll talk about next, where there's a lot of question marks, I think, on the Atlanta side on who's going to play, who's not. And then Josh Giddey, if he ends up out, that's the most productive basketball player as far as putting up stats of anybody on that team by a wide margin. So a lot to go around there. Trey Jones, that might look all right, but under 232.5 purely because I don't trust the pace there. Toronto's playing breakneck speed, not playing a lot of defense, but nobody got hurt. But it's a back-to-back. You got Brandon Ingram coming off of major injuries. Are you really going to push quickly Barrett, Barnes, Pirtle this early in the season entirely? Maybe give one a night off? And Antonio's decent favorites too. I will say I'm leaning towards taking like 5 points here at the moment with Toronto and just hoping you get that one piece in Wemby where it's like, hey, we got to give him a maintenance pay to some extent here this early in the season. Remember, he's 7'4". He's doing absolutely everything for this team. And I will say they've been able to monitor his minutes somewhat here to start off the season, but like they're 3-0. They want to keep things rocking and rolling. Plus, De'Aaron Fox, not even back here. I mean, that's insane that they traded for De'Aaron Fox to be the side mate, but like when you get this version of Wemby who's getting up and got like double the blocks of the next guy, more than double the blocks of the next person in the NBA at the moment, I'm going to lean towards that under. Atlanta, Chicago, I'll speed it up a little bit. Over 241, brought it up before. There's some front court issues here. Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis going to be questionable. Porzingis is with flu-like symptoms, which I think have kind of a better chance of getting him to sit now than like later down the line. It almost feels like, hey, we might give you some extra rest here. I mean, we saw Okongwu start the other night, and that kind of like just going through popcornmachine.net, which now has a lot more utility for us. 30, 33, 35 minutes for Okongwu here. What do they really need to do with Porzingis? He sat the last two out. Probably lean towards him being out here again. And does that help or hurt the pace of it? Obviously, it just takes a knockdown shooter out, but Boston played very, very slow last year, even though their offensive rating was off the charts good. They were just extremely efficient. And it's kind of what Kristaps Porzingis does is he pulls fives away from the rim, so opens up more opportunities to score there. And you got to guard Zinger up top. So there you go. Zing. As for the Chicago side, Josh Giddey, if he ends up out, I would not want this over in my life. Otherwise, I would think long and hard about actually playing this at the moment. Let's talk about my favorite thing in the early going of the season, just based off of NBA Lindy's Live. Ben Sheriff or Seraph or however you might go about saying it here. I haven't actually actively watched a Brooklyn game in its entirety yet, other than 2 minutes of Michael Porter Jr. just chucking. Now, Cam Thomas actually has a higher assist rate right now than Ben Seraph, and didn't really play a lot of minutes there to close out in the second half there. He played like one stint, and then they got completely eviscerated. Brooklyn came back, and then still got beat anyway because they're 0-3 in their Brooklyn. But Houston's 0-2, and they're hungry Gongus on the other side with Kevin Durant and the other guys. You really, really got to respect this 15.5-point line to some extent. And that's why I think we might see, considering it was a back-to-back, a little bit more minutes for Igor Demon because he was the higher of the draft between him and Ben Seraph. And I've said this multiple times. I think Seraph's the more NBA ready of the 2 point guards, just watching them in the preseason. We ended up betting that over 2.5 assists on NBA Lindy's Live. And yeah, it doesn't mean that I like Ben Seraph. It just means that that's the profile of it. And that's kind of where the data's leaning you. I think Igor is going to have some big games over the course of this season, and they have really no reason not to go out and play him extended minutes and see what he can do. Plus, Seraph might be the worst shooter I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm trying to think if I actually don't believe that or not. I think I believe that. Oklahoma City taking on Dallas. Dallas on the back-to-back, terrible spot for them here with OKC on the other side, and then you're coming off of major injuries to guys like Anthony Davis, dinged up at the end of last year. Kyrie's still out, obviously, but Cooper Flag. I do think there are interesting assist angles purely to this because he's playing point guard at 6'9". He's leading the break in so many of these. He makes so many great defensive plays. He's a very smart basketball player and not somebody who needs to impact the game based on volume scoring, which is very different than other rookies we've seen in previous years, which kind of has me thinking that Edgecombe's probably a pretty decent bet early on in the season for Rookie of the Year. Take that for what you will. The Oklahoma City side, very nice spot for them considering Dallas played today. They did not. Early season spots like this where you just get those back-to-backs and one team is completely fresh and one team, like, you can practice all you want. You can get on a treadmill. You can play like 2-a-days. You can do whatever you want. There's nothing quite like playing in back-to-back NBA games with all the other distractions and all the other things. You get in a rhythm. You feel the rhythm, feel the ride. It's bobsled time, and that's where we're at in the NBA right now. And the data kind of bores this out. And it's something I was pretty early to at the end of last year, or at the beginning of last year, excuse me. And I started recapping a little bit at the end of last year, but really interested in 7.5 on the OKC side. You could see a surprise sit from one Anthony Davis. I would not be shocked to have Derek Lively sit as well. Just throwing it out there. Phoenix taking on Utah. This is probably out of everything here between that and between that. This is probably the one I have the most interest in, which is insane because I don't like Utah. I just really don't respect Phoenix. I know they had the come from behind victory against Sacramento. I don't really respect Sacramento either for what it's worth. They've just screwed up multiple times over. And what is their roster? What is their roster at the moment? Also, just a hack of Reeves basically today, 21 for 22 from the free throw line. Just insane stuff that we witnessed there from the Sacramento team. But we're talking about Phoenix. What is this front court? Brian Dunn and Iguodala are nice pieces if they're coming off the bench. Guess what they're doing? Starting. You're starting those guys. And Dylan Brooks is questionable, who I don't really love, in like the 36, 38 minute role when he wants to actively be shooting threes. But like, Dylan Brooks is a good defender and somebody that quack from Oregon. That was going to be his calling card in the NBA. And boy, has it come to fruition at Memphis, Houston, and now it will in Phoenix as well. But Phoenix defensively is still going to be a train wreck. Devin Booker, Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen had an unbelievable season when he first got to Phoenix, and now it's just been kind of tough sledding here for him. Royce O'Neal off the bench is the more, it's pretty one-for-one. You just swap in Royce O'Neal to play the Dylan Brooks role. They're doing the same shit. They're asked to do the exact same thing, but with Jalen Green still not back there, they can't make up for their poor defense in that backcourt with great offense. They just really can't. Jalen Green maybe, and you can slide Grayson Allen over and things might be okay, but some of the on-off court data that I'm going to be sharing more and more over on Add More Funds, especially as we accumulate sample size, it's going to get interesting. But Utah, Filipowski, Markin, and Kessler, that is a gigantic front court, and they have a huge advantage over Dunn and Iguodala, in my opinion. In fact, Mark Williams should be starting sooner rather than later. He's much better than Iguodala. But apparently they just kind of want to limit Mark Williams' minutes. There was a quote saying that, like, it's easier to manage his minutes coming off the bench than it is starting. Okay, thanks. Good to know. Start him. Gives you more optionality throughout the entire game. You play to win the game. Duh. Or you just pack it in early, because that seems like what they're doing. Devin Booker, will he be a Sun at the end of the year? I would assume so, because then there might be riots, but there also might be 12 people in the stands for these games going forward. Not in Utah as well. Memphis +9 here, and this is a little disrespectful, I think, to a healthy John Morant, healthy Jaren Jackson Jr., but maybe this is just the depth and the quality of the Golden State side, and they're going to be the cream of the crop here going forward. Like, in terms of the West, it's them, Denver, San Antonio. If you have Wemby playing at this level and you get any kind of... De'Aaron Fox just needs to come back and be able to shoot somewhat well. If De'Aaron Fox comes back and shoots somewhat well and you slide Stephon Castle over, who's playing point here at the moment, life is good because you have Wemby under the rim. You have Wemby doing everything else. Like, San Antonio could be interesting. And obviously, the Lakers are going to get a lot of steam here once it's Luka and LeBron coming back together for sure. Funny because there's so many other teams. Houston. We know OKC's the favorite. But there's just a lot of interesting teams that are like a move here or there away. There's going to be some availability, I think, for some guys this year that just defies logic. We'll put it that way. Nothing will compare to Luka, but there's nothing that will compare to that. But you could add a piece to a Lakers team that would be pretty fascinating. Although I don't know how that works money-wise because, well, pretty tied up. Anyway, let's get ourselves through this. Memphis, Golden State, the main thing for me to pay attention to is how they go about playing Kuminga. Like the Kuminga role in and of itself. They obviously liked him a lot more than what they were leading on. Steve Kerr, put your pride aside. There are times where you kind of want to make a statement and you don't really play your young guys as much unless they're like hustle Brandon Pajemskis who do a little bit of everything, or knockdown shooters that you're going to get here and there with, Quentin Post when he gets a couple of minutes here or there. But when you go out and get an Al Horford, it just kind of mucks up everything. At least Al Horford's out for this one. And that's kind of where I'm kind of in the disrespectful side of things. Yeah, you don't have Edie or Clark or any of those other backup bigs, but the whole key here is John Morant is healthy and they're 9-point dogs. It's weird. Weird times to be alive. Alrighty, one more game. Hit that like button for me. Austin Reeves, did you watch this tonight? I could not believe what I was witnessing. 51, 10, and 9. Triple-double bettors, you deserve so much better. I tweeted that out already, so I'm just going to quote myself. You deserve so much better than that chase-down block at the end to not get that assist. You deserved it. It was a big number, and I stared at it, and I'm like, I got to put a little sprinkle on it, and I didn't. Boy, did you get screwed out of that one. But what an unbelievable game by him. Lakers 2-1 here in Austin Reeves. With no Luka out there is going to be nice. But now they're going to take on Portland. Portland defensively on their back-to-back. Does Drew Holiday play on the back-to-back? That's the big question that I have for this. Do you play veteran Drew Holiday? Because it's different with the Celtics where they were really kind of like, hey, Jason Tatum, you get a day off. Jaylen Brown, you get a day off. And they were kind of moving and maneuvering it around. Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, you take a day off and kind of maneuvering it. Does that change on a new team? I'm not sure. You're not sure. We are not sure. So take your time, baby. Alrighty. Before we get to the official plays, lots to get to. Obviously, this is early season NBA. So, yeah, we're going to talk 20 minutes about a lot of things prospectively, but I need to get some props in my life. I will post some goodness. Hit me up over on X. I need to get some more numbers, be able to upload some stuff, but we're going to be talking through a lot of NBA here over the course of the next few months. Jump into the premium Discord where you can get every single updated play. And I feel really good about the play that we already have here. I feel good about the NFL play. I feel good about the MLB play, the best of the three, which is kind of insane because it's plus money and there's two of them. But anyway, $30 off. Lindy NBA. Love to have you there. Let's get to the plays. Alrighty, y'all. I am going to go boom, boom, boom with each one of these because we've got three sports, the Tri-Wizard Tournament, if you will. I know Sports Equinox. Go make a bajillion dollars, DraftKings and FanDuel. Go spew your stuff. Go ahead. Have fun. I am going to be watching my Minnesota Timberwolves take on the Denver Nuggets, hosting them 4.5-point dogs. Huh, what a weird line. Why is that, Eric? Well, I'll tell you. Anthony Edwards got dinged up. And Anthony Edwards, if you know Anthony Edwards, you know how many times over the course of an NBA season, he goes to the locker room. You think he is done for the season. And he comes back out in the second half and keeps playing. I'm serious when I say it happened maybe 7 times last season. I watch a lot of Minnesota Timberwolves basketball. It's the team that I watch the most. It's my hometown. Well, not my hometown team. Both my parents are from Minnesota, but it is the team that I grew up cheering for, the team that I grew up going on drives up from South Dakota to go to games. And, well, this is one of those spots where I just think you have to take Anthony Edwards off the floor. And if you do, this number should be higher than 4.5, in my opinion. In fact, you can go to Dunks and Threes. You can do the fast version. Dunksandthrees.com is amazing. You can put in your updated minutes. You can kind of go back and forth with how they go through simulating games. I simulate them out a little bit differently, but I like to blend the two. Dunks and Threes landed at 6. I landed at 7, so I split the difference and called it 6.5. 2 points in the NBA, especially when you take a massive piece like Anthony Edwards, where the entire offense flows through it, and it becomes Conley starting the second half alongside DiVincenzo, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. Just going to say, Nikola Jokic should have a field day. And he's always done pretty darn well with Gobert on the other side. And when I say that, I mean eviscerated him. The way that this burns us is Naz Reid goes out and just has one of those patented Naz Reid 5 for 6, 5 for 7 3-point outings off the bench and just sets the world on fire. But otherwise, this is an egregious number. Denver is right from the get-go just playing their dudes. We're getting lots of minutes for Murray, Brown, Johnson, Gordon, and Jokic. You do have a thin bench like you always do with Denver, but what makes up for it is you're getting starters minutes from your starters, whereas Minnesota, they're going to try to mix and match a number of different pieces, not like Johnny Juzang necessarily, but like Bones Highland is playing minutes for this team as Rob Dillingham is dinged up with that nasal fracture. We've got Jalen Clark going out there, Terrence Shannon Jr. playing a big role. I'm very, very I'm not going to say appalled by this number. I just think it's incorrect. And obviously, I'm going to be cheering against my own team with my parents there at the game. So I apologize to them ahead of time. I'm embarrassed for myself. But actually, no, I don't give a shit. I'm here to make you money. I'm here to make myself money. You got to bet Denver. Plus, I guess some capacity for me, it's like, hey, if my team wins this. No, I'm here to make money. And that is the name of the game. Let's talk Kansas City and Washington, because this one is hard on the onset to just really get a grasp of like how big of a deal Jaden Daniels is. Jaden Daniels is gigantic and became very clear he wasn't going to be playing this game very early on. Marcus Mariota getting another start here, third now of the season. We've had a pretty good sample size of Marcus Mariota now in relief of Jaden Daniels over the course of the last 2 years. And I will say, if he's able to create some plays with his feet, nifty. This also moved a point. This was at 11.5, and we got news that Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel are going to be full goes. I think that's worth a point. I'm going to give that a point, but Jaden Daniels is a special, special talent. There's a reason they played in an NFC championship game last year. It wasn't because of Marcus Mariota, even though I say that to my in-laws who are Oregon people. Well, they'll probably burn me at the stake, but that's okay. Again, I'm just going to defy my parents and bet Minnesota, and I'm going to defy my in-laws, and I'm going to bet Kansas City. I love my wife. I want that to be known. But, friends, Rashee Rice was unbelievable right from the get-go, and as he gets acclimated, I mean, he played in the preseason. We saw it already. We knew he was going to hit the ground running, but there's something to be said about seeing it in real life. 10 targets, 7 receptions, 42 yards, and they really didn't push him any way, shape, or form. 31-0. And that's kind of where I'm getting at with this play specifically. Over the course of the last few years, I've bet Kansas City more than my fair share of times, purely because you get some of these really long 14.5, 16.5 type numbers. I think of specifically last year against Vegas. I get burned once in a while at these late game Andy Reid packing it in, running it 2 yards up the middle with a Brashard Smith or an Isaiah Pacheco. Smith, we haven't seen that before. Even more of a pass catching back for what it's worth. Did look at his 15.5, 16.5 receiving yards. I think there might be something there. There might be something there for us as Kareem Hunt. Still somebody that they trust, but has been dinged up a little bit, even though he's played through a lot of those injuries. But I want to get the first half action down here. Kansas City first half -6.5, bet it already. These are the kind of plays that I just end up feeling a lot more confident about because you do the back testing of it and you're playing 100% full strength no matter what, not playing to score in that first half. Kansas City will go out, completely let it rip, and I think we're going to see a fully operational Death Star right from the jump here. Xavier Worthy is the fastest wide receiver in the NFL. Rashee Rice, the best possession slot in the NFL, even though I would say Jalen Waddle in years past because I'm just biased in that regard. I don't even know why. Well, PFF grading and data, but you don't care about such things. I care about such things, but Rashee Rice cares about such things, and he's insanely good at it. And if he didn't tear his ACL last year, oh my God, Kansas City would have looked very, very different in that Philadelphia Super Bowl, no doubt about it. Travis Kelce. And the main thing is, like, if they go out and get a Breece Hall, which it doesn't sound like they're going to be giving up, but, like, they go out and get him or a Devon Achane or something, good luck, NFL, because Andy Reid's the best play caller in the NFL still, to this day. Kansas City minus 6.5 first half. That is where it's at with this one. Let's round it out, put a bow on it. Tri-sport tournament, Game 3 World Series here. We got the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh, yeah, I got to pull up my big spreadsheet of things. There you go. Max Scherzer coming back to LA. Once upon a time pitched for them. He's pitched for quite a few teams here at this stand, but Max Scherzer taking on Tyler Glasnow. It's a mismatch. And in their current iterations, it's kind of displayed here in the numbers. I really have no interest in betting these. These are hyper efficient numbers. You probably haven't seen a spread, or like I did bet Dodgers minus 1.5 a couple of times there. We did end up on some pretty sharp numbers there, and it got held down by Glasnow, which was actually a pretty nice spot too. But Dodger Stadium, Toronto has some lefties that can create a little bit of havoc here, and I'm not even going to be going to them. But Aston Barger, Dalton Varsho, they're going to be very, very important because I don't really like Vlad Guerrero's just kind of doing the overlay between the way that Glasnow is going to be presenting his slider sinker alongside his fastball and the way that Vlad goes about it. It just doesn't match up very well. So I did look at the under of 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs for him on the Dodger side as well. The same kind of concerns that you have here. If Little is going to be an absolute dipshit, like Toronto doesn't really have lefties that they can bring in out of the pen that really like worry me for an Ohtani or a Muncy or a Freeman. I mean, those are all phenomenal hitters as is. I mean, how many clutch Muncy home runs can we see over the course of however many years? It's just insane that this guy was DFA'd once upon a time. But I look at the Toronto side, and there's one batter in particular that I think has to be played here in this spot. His name is George Springer. And I think this is one of those spots where we can bet the homer, but we can also bet the total bases. You do the same thing. I was talking about the overlay of Vlad. You put it over top of it. George Springer's been better against righties over the course of this year. He's had over 1,000 OPS. He hit the homer that brought them in this position as is. Tied 1-1, and he's going to be leading off. That's 3 at-bats that I'm grading here against Glasnow, followed by some spots where I do think you can get some protection out there for him if you do the Nathan Lucas thing, followed by Vlad, followed by Kirk. I mean, we kind of know the way this lineup looks. We've seen a lot of these games now in the postseason. And now Bo Bichette is back in our lives as well. So there's extra protection up there. They had him batting cleanup, probably going to keep him in that spot here. And Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, he got the start there batting 8-hole. They're not going to do that again now that it's 1-1. I'd be surprised, in fact, unless they just do the Bo Bichette at second thing. Although Andres Jimenez probably in this lineup here against one Tyler Glasnow. But he just smashes sliders, singers. Like, these are really, really good situations for George Springer to be walking into, and just grading out the 3 at-bats. I don't care about the DVP stuff. Don't look at the 6 for 12. Don't care about that. Care about the way he pitches over or hits over thousands and thousands of pitches, and then take into consideration that he is plus 138 for 2. He is plus 500 there for the home run. I feel phenomenal about George Springer here to get us a Springer dinger. Plus, it's fun to say, hey, what do you say? Cubs aren't going to win today because they're not playing. So there's that. Don't forget, there's also this. Tails, friends. It's on the TV behind me. Be like Lindy, join Tails today. We had a lot of sports to talk about on today's program. I promise not to be this long-winded going forward, although I think I've promised that before in the past. But what I will tell you is you can get every single play. We got 1 in the NBA, 1 in the NFL, 2 in the MLB technically, and gave you some other ideas of things. Utah plus 1.5, very, very high up on my list. Richard Smith receiving yards specifically 15.5. Feel like that might end up on the card here still tonight, but it's good to be back in the home base. Good to be back betting with you, and going to be betting throughout the day. Plus, let me know when you want NBA Lindy's live. Do you want to see me on Tuesday? Do you want to see me on Wednesday? I just know Monday Night Football nobody's going to be watching tomorrow. So we'll think about how to handle that going forward. Let's get out of here, shall we? And that does it, baby, for the first. Well, I still did one on Friday for NBA. So first since Friday edition of NBA, NFL, and MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for tomorrow. Lots of NBA to get to, tons of news, tons of props still to shuffle through. Ask me your questions. I'll give you my answers over on X at Eric Lindquist. That's where you can follow me. I'm tired, but ain't no rest for the wicked and money don't grow on trees, but we can accumulate it through good bankroll management and making ourselves wake up early in the morning to get some opening lines. I'll see you then. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA, NFL, and MLB streets on Friday. Bye.